What if the coin lying forgotten in your drawer could make you a millionaire tonight? What if that old penny you ignored holds unimaginable power, a secret worth millions? Today, we're diving deep into the most unbelievable U.S. coins ever. Coins so rare, so emotional, so shockingly valuable that they've changed lives forever. Stay till the end, because one of these coins might just be in your pocket. First up, the 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that looks simple, silent, and ordinary, yet hides a story so unimaginable, so emotionally powerful, that it could make your heart race. Imagine holding a single cent that could be worth thousands, even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. A coin that once bought bubblegum in the 1950s now has the power to change your destiny overnight. The 1953 Wheat Penny, struck in the years after World War II, when America was rebuilding its dreams, carries with it more than just copper and mint marks. It carries history, hope, and in some cases, unimaginable wealth. This tiny 1-cent coin was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. But not all 1953 pennies are created equal. Some hold shocking secrets, errors, rare strikes, and conditions so perfect they fetched staggering sums at auctions. Collectors around the world crave this coin, not because of its metal, but because of the story it tells. Imagine a coin that's been through wars, love stories, heartbreak, and decades of human history, and yet, it shines today as a millionaire's treasure. The emotional pull of this coin is real. You see, the 1953 Wheat Penny isn't just currency, it's a witness to time itself. Now, here's where it gets unbelievable. A normal circulated 1953 penny might be worth a few cents, but a rare mint error or high-grade example can explode in value. A perfectly preserved 1953 D Wheat Penny graded MS67 Plus Red has sold for over $40,000 at auction. And some rare proof-like coins, with full red luster and flawless surfaces, have been valued at unimaginable levels, crossing $60,000 or more in private sales. But that's not the whole story. There are error coins from 1953 that leave experts speechless. Imagine a double-die penny, where Lincoln's face appears slightly doubled, or a coin struck off-center, a rare mint mishap that makes collectors go crazy. These aren't flaws, they're miracles of minting, mistakes so rare they've turned 1-cent pieces into fortunes. Collectors have described the moment of finding one as life-changing. You pick up what looks like an ordinary penny, and suddenly realize you're holding something worth more than a luxury car. The emotional shock, the heartbeat, the disbelief, it's the feeling of discovering buried treasure in plain sight. And that's exactly what makes the 1953 Wheat Penny so special. Millions were made, yes, but only a handful were struck perfectly or kept untouched for 70 long years. Time has turned them into gold mines for the lucky few who recognized their hidden beauty. The gleam of copper, the sharp edges of Lincoln's portrait, and the crisp wheat ears on the reverse, all these details define whether your penny is just a cent or a life-changer. Imagine being that one person who unknowingly has a flawless 1953 penny tucked in a jar, and years later, an expert tells you it's worth tens of thousands. That emotional moment, it's more than money, it's magic. But the truly unimaginable truth is that some 1953 pennies have unique color variations. The deep red luster, known as full red by grading experts, can skyrocket its value. A penny with blazing, untouched copper tone, glowing as if it were just minted yesterday, can fetch $20,000 to $50,000, sometimes even more. Now picture this, one such penny being auctioned under the bright lights of heritage auctions. The room goes silent. The bidding starts at $5,000, then climbs. 10,000, 20,000, $30,000. Collectors from across the world fight for a single coin. When the hammer finally drops, the winning bid reaches over $60,000. The crowd gasps. Cameras flash. A tiny coin, smaller than your thumb, just made someone richer than they ever imagined. And yet, thousands of people still have no idea what they're holding. Somewhere, in an old coin jar or a dusty attic box, lies a 1953 Lincoln Wheat Penny that could be worth a fortune. That's what makes this story emotional. You might already have it. Every scratch, every tone, every curve of this coin tells a human story, of the people who spent it, saved it, lost it, and rediscovered it decades later. It connects generations. From a child's pocket change in 1953 to a collector's display case in 2025, that's a 72-year journey of silent value. If you ever find one, don't rush to spend it. Don't toss it away thinking it's just another penny. Because that tiny copper disc could hold unbelievable power. It might be the very coin that turns your life upside down, in the best way possible. Remember, Sakab, some 1953 pennies even have proof-like surfaces, struck with mirror finishes meant for collectors. These ultra-rare versions, when perfectly preserved, have crossed six-figure auction prices. That's not imagination, that's real history making ordinary people into millionaires overnight. So next time you see a 1953 wheat penny, take a closer look. Look for the mint mark under the date. A small D or S could change everything. Check its shine, its sharpness, its color. If it glows with that fiery red copper hue, your hands might be holding an unimaginable fortune. Because sometimes, wealth doesn't come in gold bars or luxury cars. It comes in something as small, humble, and powerful as a 1-cent coin from 1953. So keep your eyes open, because that ordinary coin might be your extraordinary destiny. Next up, the 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that carries the whispers of history, the echoes of the Great Depression, and the power to make someone unbelievably rich today. Imagine this, a simple copper coin, barely worth a cent back then, now capable of changing lives, shocking the world, and turning ordinary people into overnight millionaires. This isn't just an old penny. It's a hidden treasure born from one of the toughest times in American history. The year 1935, a time when people struggled, every penny mattered, and hope was as rare as silver. Yet right in that era of hardship, the U.S. Mint created a coin that would one day become an unimaginable symbol of wealth and fortune. The 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny, quiet, unassuming, and filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. Millions of these coins were struck, but the truth is, only a handful survived in pristine condition. Some were lost in circulation, worn out by time, and forgotten. But a very few, were preserved, untouched by history. And those few are now worth unbelievable amounts. A flawless 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny graded MS67 Plus Red has sold for $40,000 to $60,000 at auction. That's right, a 1-cent coin that could pay off someone's entire home loan, buy luxury cars, and still leave money to spare. And for those that carry rare errors or mint variations, the value can skyrocket even higher, touching realms of unimaginable fortune. Collectors describe this coin as emotional, not just valuable. Because when you hold a 1935 penny in your hand, you're holding history itself. You're touching a piece of the Great Depression, a symbol of survival, of people who clung to every cent just to make it through one more day. The thought that one of those pennies could now be worth tens of thousands is both heartbreaking and breathtaking. But here's the shocking twist. The 1935 penny has error varieties so rare that they've stunned even professional graders. Some coins have been discovered with double die obverse, where Lincoln's face or the inscriptions appear doubled. Others have been struck slightly off-center or on the wrong planchet, creating coins that the mint never intended to exist. These error coins, these beautiful mistakes of history, are the true jackpot. One of these ultra-rare errors sold for over $85,000 in a private auction. The reason? It was flawless, fiery red in color, and one of a kind. Collectors went to war for it, bidding in silence, hearts racing, knowing that whoever won would hold a piece of numismatic history worth a fortune. Imagine that moment. You're holding an old jar of coins, flipping through them one by one. You see a 1935 penny. You almost ignore it, but something catches your eye, a tiny doubling, a glimmer, a shine unlike the rest. You take it for grading, and suddenly, experts tell you it's worth tens of thousands. The rush, the disbelief, the joy, it's the emotion of realizing your forgotten coin could change your entire life. That's what makes the 1935 wheat penny such a legend. Every single one carries mystery. Some are deep brown, some are red, some shimmer like polished fire. And those colors, yes, even the color, can determine a coin's destiny. The redder and cleaner it is, the higher its value climbs. Professional graders at PCGS and NGC often describe high-grade 1935 pennies as mesmerizing. Their shine, their detail, the crisp liberty, and the sharpness of Lincoln's jawline, all combine to make a coin that feels alive, eternal, and emotional. These are not just metallic discs, They're timeless artworks that survived nearly a century without losing their soul. Now think about it. Somewhere, in an old family collection, inside a forgotten drawer or box, someone may be unknowingly sitting on a fortune. Their grandfather's penny jar, filled with what looks like ordinary cents, might contain a 1935 wheat penny worth more than $50,000. The story has repeated many times. An elderly man in Illinois once sold a pristine 1935 D penny for $55,200 at auction. He said he'd kept it since childhood, never knowing it would one day buy him a house. That's the emotional miracle of this coin. And here's where it becomes truly unimaginable. Some 1935 pennies were struck using older dies, resulting in subtle variations that experts spend years identifying. These hidden variations, barely visible to the naked eye, have sold for enormous sums once authenticated. The smallest imperfection, the tiniest minting error, can make the difference between a penny and a paycheck for life. Let's not forget, 1935 was a turning point. America was healing, industry was rising, and the Lincoln cent symbolized perseverance. Each of these pennies was minted as a promise that even the smallest value could still mean something great. Today, that promise has turned literal. A single coin, if preserved perfectly, has become a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Picture the auction room again. The tension, the whispers, the spotlight shining on a tiny coin protected in glass. The bidding begins, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, until someone shouts 60,000. The room gasps. The hammer falls. The coin is gone, sold to a collector who just spent a small fortune on a single cent. The crowd claps, some in disbelief, others in envy. That's the power of the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny. So, the next time you come across one, don't let it slip away. Check the mint mark. No mint mark means Philadelphia, D stands for Denver, and each variation can tell a different story, with different values. If it's shiny, red, and untouched, it could be worth a dream. Never underestimate what's in your pocket. Because the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny has proven one thing beyond all doubt: the smallest things in life can hold the biggest surprises. And maybe, just maybe, the next coin you touch could turn your world upside down. Keep your eyes open, because that humble old penny might be your unexpected fortune, your emotional miracle, your unimaginable destiny. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin born in the fiery shadows of World War II, a coin that has made collectors cry, smile, and gasp in disbelief. This isn't just another penny. This is the legend, the miracle, the unbelievable treasure that has transformed ordinary people into millionaires overnight. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny, one of the most emotional, powerful, and valuable coins ever created in American history. Let me take you back. The year was 1944. The world was at war. Every piece of metal, every ounce of copper was precious for the military. Tanks, bullets, and weapons needed it more than coins did. So in 1943, the U.S. Mint started making pennies from steel coated with zinc, saving copper for the war effort. But when 1944 arrived, things changed. The Mint returned to copper, but, and here's the shock, some leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got struck in 1944. And that mistake created one of the most valuable and emotional coins in human history. That coin is the 1944 steel Lincoln wheat penny. Only a few exist, and each one is worth a fortune. A genuine 1944 steel penny has sold for over $1.7 million at auction. Yes, you heard right, a single 1-cent coin fetching nearly $2 million. Unimaginable, unbelievable, but true. Imagine this. You're searching through old coins, and you find a 1944 penny that looks a bit silvery, not copper. It catches the light differently. Your heart skips a beat. You test it with a magnet, and it sticks. That's when the world changes for you. Because you're holding something that only a handful of humans on Earth possess. A miracle coin. A millionaire's dream. A treasure that survived the war and time itself. But even the regular 1944 copper pennies, those struck correctly, can be worth thousands, depending on their condition, color, and mint mark. The 1944 D and 1944 S varieties, when perfectly preserved, can sell for $10,000 to $50,000 in top condition. Some red-toned, uncirculated 1944 pennies have crossed $100,000 in private auctions. And when you realize that these coins started as ordinary 1-cent pieces used by soldiers' families during wartime, the emotional power hits you. This isn't just a coin. It's a piece of the 1940s, a piece of the world that sacrificed, rebuilt, and believed in hope. Every 1,944 penny carries stories of soldiers writing letters home, of mothers saving every cent, of children buying candy with pennies that might now be worth millions. That's the magic of the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, the emotional depth grows even deeper when you learn about the errors, the accidents that changed history. Some 1944 pennies were struck on foreign planchets, metals meant for coins of other nations during wartime. For instance, a few were struck on shell-casing brass, melted ammunition from the battlefields, turned into currency of peace. Can you imagine that? A coin born from bullets. A penny made from war itself, symbolizing survival and rebirth. That's beyond valuable, that's priceless. Some experts call the 1944 penny the coin of destiny, because it represents transformation, from war to peace, from struggle to strength, from copper to fortune. That's why collectors go emotional when they hold one. You're not just touching metal, you're touching a memory, a legacy, a heartbeat from 80 years ago. Now, here's a fact that still gives chills. Many people have unknowingly spent fortunes without realizing it. Countless steel pennies from 1944 were mistaken for ordinary coins and spent in grocery stores decades ago. 1 cent for bread, 1 cent for milk, not knowing that it was 1 cent worth millions. The thought of that makes collectors' hearts ache. Because out there, somewhere, a few of those million-dollar coins might still be lost in circulation. But here's the incredible truth. Even today, new discoveries keep happening. People cleaning old jars, sorting coin rolls, or checking inherited collections are suddenly finding 1944 varieties that make experts stop and stare. The excitement, the shock, the joy, it's unimaginable. You see the coin, your hands tremble, your voice breaks, because you know what it means. You've found something that can change your life forever. At major auctions like Heritage and Stacksbauer's, the 1944 steel pennies draw massive crowds. The bidding starts high, $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, and then it goes silent. The final price hits over $1 million. Gasps echo. Collectors whisper. And somewhere, the winner walks away holding a piece of American miracle in their palm. Even the copper ones from 1944 have beauty that stops you in your tracks. Their deep red shine, sharp design, and untouched condition make them glow like they were minted yesterday. And when certified by PCGS or NGC as MS68 red, they become treasures worth more than gold itself. So, if you ever see a 1944 penny, don't ignore it. Don't assume it's common. Test it. Hold it. Look closely. If it's silver gray instead of copper, it could be one of those legendary steel cents. If it's bright red and flawless, it could still fetch thousands. Either way, it's history whispering to you, a once-in-a-lifetime chance hidden inside something so ordinary, yet so extraordinary. Because this isn't just about money. It's about destiny. About finding value in what everyone else overlooked. About realizing that sometimes, the smallest thing, a coin, a cent, a tiny circle of copper, can carry the biggest fortune and the deepest emotion. The 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny reminds us that miracles don't shout, they whisper. They wait quietly in drawers, jars, and collections, until the right hands uncover their truth. So the next time you hold a penny, look at the date. If it says 1944, hold your breath. That tiny piece of history might just hold the power to rewrite your entire story. Because out of millions of pennies, one can change your life forever. Next up, the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that might look ordinary, but hides an unimaginable secret, a secret that has shocked collectors, stunned experts, and changed the lives of those lucky enough to discover its true worth. Don't let its humble copper shine fool you. This small piece of metal has the power to make dreams real. The 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny, 1 cent that could turn into thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in today's world. This coin was born in a post-war America, 1951, a time when people were rebuilding, families were growing, and every penny counted. No one could have imagined that one of those pennies, made for everyday use, would someday be worth more than a house. Yet here we are, decades later, with collectors fighting to get their hands on even a single high-grade 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The 1951 penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S. But not all were created equal. Some were struck to perfection, others came with rare mint errors that transformed them from small change into priceless artifacts. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts stop, coins that sell for shocking amounts at big-name auctions, sometimes beyond what anyone could have believed. A flawless 1951 D Wheat Penny graded MS67 Plus Red has been known to sell for $35,000 to $40,000 at major auctions. Meanwhile, some proof-like 1951 S pennies with mirror finishes have reached beyond $50,000. And then, there are the error coins, the unbelievable, one-in-a-million minting mistakes that defy logic. Imagine a 1951 penny struck slightly off-center, its rim curved like it's carrying a secret smile. Or one with a double-die obverse, where Lincoln's face or the words, "In God We Trust," appear faintly doubled. These flaws are what make collectors lose their breath, because these rare variations can fetch tens of thousands of dollars. But beyond the numbers, this coin carries deep emotion. Think about it. These pennies were used in the pockets of hard-working Americans during the 1950s, factory workers, veterans, mothers buying bread for their children, kids saving pennies for candy. Each coin passed through lives, through laughter, through tears. And now, decades later, these same coins have become symbols of luck, survival, and fortune. The 1951 Wheat Penny connects generations. It's a bridge between the past and present, a coin that has lived through the heartbeat of time itself. When collectors hold one in their hands, they don't just see metal, they feel history. The smooth edges, the wheat ears on the back, Lincoln's calm face, all tell a story of endurance, of how something so small can carry so much meaning. And then comes the unbelievable twist, the 1951 proof pennies. These coins weren't made for circulation. They were struck with care, polished dies, and precise pressure, meant only for collectors or presentation sets. Today, if you find one in perfect condition, proof 68 red, flawless, glowing like fire, it could be worth $70,000 or more. The rarity, the shine, the perfection, all combine to create a piece that's emotionally overwhelming to see in person. Now picture this, a coin collector sitting under a bright auction light. He's been waiting for months for this exact coin, a 1951 S Lincoln Wheat Penny, graded MS68 red. The bidding begins, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. The tension rises. The audience watches in silence. When the auctioneer finally slams the hammer at $45,600, the room erupts in applause. A coin that once bought a stick of gum is now worth more than a new car. That's the emotional shock, the unimaginable transformation that this little coin brings to life. And who knows, maybe that exact kind of coin is sitting quietly in your home. Maybe your grandfather saved one without knowing its worth. Maybe it's in a jar, a drawer, or tucked away in a forgotten box of old cents. Every year, stories surface of people discovering rare pennies like the 1951 that changed their lives overnight. That's why these stories don't just inspire, they ignite hope. Even experts get emotional when they grade a flawless 1951 penny. They describe its color as deep blazing red, shimmering like a sunlit flame. That vibrant red luster, untouched by time, is what sends its price into the stratosphere. Coins that have stayed bright, uncirculated, and perfectly preserved for over 70 years are treasures beyond belief. But the truth is, most people never look closely. They spend their old coins without realizing they're letting go of gold disguised as copper. The 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny is proof that fortune hides in the smallest places, sometimes in the palm of your hand. And let's not forget the emotional symbolism. Abraham Lincoln, a man who represented freedom, unity, and hope, still shines from this coin, decades after it was struck. His calm, thoughtful face on the 1951 penny is more than an image. It's a reminder that greatness often comes from the simplest beginnings. The wheat ears on the back. They're not just design, they represent harvest, abundance, and growth. Together, they tell a silent story of America rising from struggle to prosperity. That's why this coin touches hearts as much as it shocks minds with its value. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is power. But emotional connection. That's priceless. And the 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny has both. It's rare, it's historical, and it's heart-stirring. So, if you ever find one, stop. Look. Feel it. Examine its mint mark. If it's glowing red, crisp-edged, and untouched, it could be worth a fortune beyond imagination. And if it's got an error, an off-center strike, a doubled image, a unique tone, you might be holding a life-changing discovery. Because here's the truth. Wealth doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in a jar, waiting for someone with the right eyes, and the right heart, to see it. The 1951 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a perfect reminder that even the smallest, most ordinary things can hold extraordinary power. It's a story of patience, discovery, and destiny. So check your pennies. Because the next one you pick up might not just be worth a cent, it might be worth your future. Next up, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, one of the last shining stars of America's beloved wheatback design. A coin that has left collectors speechless, investors stunned, and ordinary people emotionally shaken by its unimaginable worth. At first glance, it looks just like any other penny, simple, copper, and small. But deep beneath that reddish shine lies a secret capable of turning a single cent into a life-changing fortune. The year was 1957, the world was moving fast, the Cold War was rising, and America was charging into the future. But amidst the rockets, radios, and revolutions, the U.S. Mint quietly produced a coin that would become a timeless masterpiece, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny. It was one of the final years of the iconic wheat design that had graced American pockets since 1909, and that fact alone made it emotionally powerful. But what no one could have imagined back then was how unbelievably valuable some of these pennies would become decades later. For most people, the 1957 Wheat Penny was everyday money, something to buy a soda, a comic book, or a candy bar. But for today's collectors, this coin is a symbol of unexpected fortune. Because while millions were made, only a few were born perfect. Only a few survived time untouched, glowing, flawless, and powerful enough to make headlines at major coin auctions. Let's start with the facts. The 1957 Wheat Penny was minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D. Together, over 1 billion were struck. Yes, 1 billion, but that massive number hides a truth that few understand. Condition changes everything. Among those billions, only a handful remain in pristine, mint-state red condition. These are the treasures that collectors chase, and the reason why this coin story is as emotional as it is valuable. Now imagine this. A 1957 D Wheat Penny graded MS67 Plus red sold for more than $28,000 at auction. Another, in perfect red condition with full luster and zero marks, reached nearly $40,000. And here's the shocker. Some rare proof-like or error-struck 1957 pennies have crossed even higher in private sales. A small, shiny copper coin that once bought bubblegum now has the power to buy luxury cars. Oh. Because perfection in coins is rarer than gold. A coin with absolute shine, razor-sharp details, and untouched surfaces is not just a collector's dream, it's a miracle of minting. And the 1957 Wheat Penny, being one of the last of its kind, holds immense emotional and historical weight. Every collector wants it because it marks the end of an era. But that's only half the story. The era varieties of the 1957 penny are where things get unbelievably shocking. There are double-die obverse examples where Lincoln's portrait, date, or inscriptions appear faintly doubled, giving it a ghostly, powerful look. Some pennies were struck off-center or even on leftover planchets from other denominations. Each error transforms the coin from ordinary to extraordinary. A single such coin can sell for $10,000, $20,000, or even $50,000 depending on condition and rarity. Imagine flipping through a handful of pennies and spotting one that's just a little different. The 7 in 1957 looks doubled. The color gleams brighter. The texture feels unique. You check online, your heartbeat races, and you realize you could be holding a piece worth more than you ever imagined. That emotional rush, that disbelief, that moment of pure awe, that's what makes this coin story so powerful. Collectors often say that the 1957 penny carries a goodbye spirit. It was one of the last years before the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat stalks with the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. So the 1957 penny doesn't just represent money, it represents the end of an era. It's the final chapter of a design that spanned 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and generations of American history. It's emotional, it's historical, and it's valuable beyond imagination. Now let's talk color. In coin grading, there are three main tones: brown, BN, red-brown, RB, and full red, RD. The 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, in full red, is pure magic. That blazing copper glow, that untouched luster, that feeling of holding a time capsule from the 1950s, it's indescribable. These are the coins that shine like fire under auction lights. These are the coins that fetch tens of thousands of dollars, leaving bidders in stunned silence. Picture this, a packed auction hall, eyes fixed on a tiny coin in a glass case. The auctioneer starts, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. The tension builds, the room holds its breath. Finally, the hammer slams at $35,000. The audience claps. A collector smiles, maybe with a tear in his eye, knowing he just claimed a piece of American legacy. That's not just an auction, that's an emotional moment of history being reborn. But perhaps the most unbelievable part of the story is that these coins are still out there. People find them in jars, drawers, and old piggy banks. Sometimes they're sitting in dusty coin albums from grandparents who never knew what treasures they had. It happens every year. Someone discovers an old penny worth thousands and feels the shock of a lifetime. The 1957 Wheat Penny is one of those silent sleepers, easy to overlook, impossible to forget once you know its story. Experts say if you ever find one, look closely. If it's bright red, has no scratches, and carries that sharp 1957 date, keep it safe. And if you find one with a small D mint mark below the date and perfect surfaces, you might just be holding a small fortune. Because here's the truth, in the world of coins, tiny details create massive destinies. The difference between a $1 coin and a $100,000 coin is sometimes just a small line, a slight color, or a rare error. That's what makes the hunt emotional and electric. And the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny, it's the symbol of that dream. A coin that started as change in a child's hand, but ended up as a collector's crown jewel. A coin that reminds us that time transforms everything, even the smallest things, into treasures. So before you spend that old penny, stop and think. It might not just be worth 1 cent, it might be your key to unimaginable wealth. It might be your miracle in copper. Because sometimes, the fortune of a lifetime doesn't come in gold or silver, it comes in the soft red glow of a humble 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny.